Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Honest to Pod, where each week we pick something to ramble on about. Current events,
personal growth,
doing drag,
and sore backs. I'm Ashley McAllister.
And I'm Matthew Alley.
And this is episode 95.
95. I remember this number.
Why?
Because we forget every week. I just remember this is episode 95.
I was literally going to say 4.
Yeah.
But my head's not in the game at the minute, as you well know.
But we've got a jam-packed, fun episode that Ashley and I decided we're not even going to talk about our weeks, mostly because nothing really happened anyway. What's happening this?
I have a bad back. Do you know how much I can moan right now about my back?
All right, and what's happening in the episodes? We'll save that one for the extras.
Yeah, we'll do that in extra bit. In the episode, we have like you said, a jam-packed. And we're so lucky because we planned this, and then we all watched Rupaul UK, and when our collective jaws thudded against the floor whenever the dearest Asstina was sashaying away, at the same very time, that bitch confirmed our podcast.
Whoop!
You said, and this is a quote, she said, I want to be on the most prestigious podcast the UK has to offer. I want to talk about real life issues. I want to be beautiful and use world-class tech. And then she chose us when everyone else was not available.
I know. She's like, I've got nothing to do. Yeah. All right, I'm just going, whoever these people are.
Who are these people? But yeah, so we've got the amazing, well, you introduce her. You know her. She's your bestie.
So we've got our episode is in kind of like two halves. So the first half we're going to speak to Asstina Mandella, the latest queen, although this will come out on a Thursday, so you may have seen another episode. One of the queens of RuPaul's Drag Race season 2 in the UK version. She's going to talk drag. She's going to talk being black and gay in London, and just to keep it raw. She keeps it raw.
Mm-hmm.
That means real for anyone else that didn't get that.
For white people. For white people, that means real.
She keep it 100, as they say.
What?
She keep it 100.
I don't understand.
She keeps it 100.
I got it. I'm joking. So I'm not too sure if your little time clocks know, but it's a 1-year anniversary since our dear friend Jordan came on the podcast and broke all our hearts with his incredible story.
He's our very first guest ever.
Very first guest. He's a good friend of ours as well. So it was nice for us to have somebody so personal and supporting of the podcast from the very beginning to come on and be, I think, one of the top episodes we've ever done.
It actually is currently the second highest rating episode still. I looked up.
I mean, I can see why.
Mm-hmm.
So he's come back because it's been a year since his episode went out. And it is currently from the 1st to the 7th, Sexual Abuse and Sexual Violence Awareness Week. Hashtag it's not okay. And so we thought we'd get Jordan back on to give us an update of what's been happening since his episode went live. And then with Jordan, one of the guys who initially listened to the episode last year, Bryan is also on, telling how listening to the episode and listening to Jordan's story influenced him and made him make some important life changes and decisions. So he's on as well, talking about his experiences.
So, without further ado, please tuck in for our interview with Asstina Mandella, and then our heartfelt story with Jordan and Bryan. Hello, everyone, and just as we said before, we've got Asstina Mandella on the show.
Yo, 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 yo. Merry Christmas.
Oh, I know. By the time this comes out, it'll probably be Christmas, to be fair, anyway.
Listen, every day is festive.
How are you?
I'm fab, babe. I just had a little workout, which was great. A little morning activity, get my blood flowing, get my body moving. And now I'm sitting here with you two. I'm going to have a nice little chat. Got my cup of tea and my Harry Potter mug.
Nice.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm fabulous. How are you both?
Yeah, I'm good. Good, good,
Really,
good.
really good.
It's Monday morning. It's refreshing. Yeah, you a big Harry Potter fan?
Oh, big, 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 big. I had it on last night. It was just like background music
Mhm.
to sleep to, and then I woke up and realized I finished the whole season again. Well, just by sleeping it. I started on
Nice.
1, and then I woke up and it was 7, and I was like, oh, I've just missed the whole franchise.
What do you mean? What you listening to? Like the
Anywho,
music or?
so I was just listening to like I had the film on, but I turned the display down, so it's just black, and then I could. So
Ah,
it's like an audiobook in a way, but on the TV.
oh,
That's
nice.
mad. I've never heard of that in my
Yeah, so I
life.
just
I've never heard that
yeah,
before in my life.
I only discovered this like a few weeks ago, and I was just like, wait a minute, why don't I just put my TV display black and then just have the audio playing? That way, like I'm watching it, but I'm not because I know what's going on, but I can
Mm.
just like sleep to it. It's really like nice way to like remember what's going on and enjoy your film, but rest and sleep and self-care.
Wow, and you got through all 7.
And I got through all 7 somehow via from sleeping.
Oh.
Missed it all. Started at 1 and was like, just like that.
I started rereading the books at Christmas, and I got through 5 books inside the first 20 days of January.
Wow.
And then I started dreaming about Hogwarts, and I thought it's time to just put a little pin in this right now because this is not what I want to be in my January 2021. So.
It's not the best way. I just resorted myself into a house again because I forgot to do it last year.
What did you get?
So I'm Slytherin.
Oh, wow, that is shady.
No, it's not. I like Slytherin.
I'm
Pride.
Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw all the way.
I used to be a Ravenclaw. I'm not Ravenclaw anymore. What
Does
are
it
you, Matt?
change?
It shouldn't change.
So I don't.
What-
I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, to be fair, so I'm not likely to do that. But if I were to guess, I reckon I'd be a Hufflepuff.
Oh, I love a Huffle. I
I'm
love
just
the
like,
Hufflepuff.
yeah, big and soft and fluffy, and yeah.
I'm a snake, apparently.
Mm,
I'm an
I guess
evil snake, apparently.
Talking about Drag
makes
Race.
sense, which makes sense. You evil!
No, I know. Tell us about your experience in Drag Race, just overall. So how was it for you? Because it was quite a while ago. It was last March, and then they stopped. How was the actual experience back then?
I mean, back then, it's really weird to answer this question because, like, how I see it is like my opinion, my view now, and how I experienced it was like it was a blur. It was just like it happened, and then all of a sudden it stopped, and then yeah, I was still doing it even though we weren't filming, but then we were filming again, and it's just like it's literally like a roller coaster, like it really is. And I think the issue I had with the show at the time in March was just how they were like not treating us like human beings.
While you were recording?
Yeah, well, like, you know, they do look after us and they make sure you're okay, but like they really delve into you, like they try and break you down and they strip you down to then build you up in like a better way, a better you, a better version of you. But I couldn't stand like if you need me ready in 2 hours, then tell me you need me ready. But they'd be like, oh, we need you ready in 10 minutes. And I'm like, but I've not even done my eyebrows yet.
Was the
And
routine not the
like,
same each time?
well, it changes, you know. Depends if Rue's ready. It depends if the stage. It depends on cameras. It depends on timing. It's loads of different factors. But at the time, I was just like, I'm not enjoying being here. I feel like I was having to like sacrifice myself to like be a part and conform to something that I don't necessarily agree with. I'm so happy I did it. I'm so happy I experienced it because it actually taught me a lot about myself, taught a lot about my values and what I hold and my opinions. I was able to like open my eyes to understanding the show, understanding TV, understanding drag, understanding myself. Yeah, it's all this. The whole experience is just this. It's a big scribble.
That's one of the difficulties of the Drag Race, I think, because it is a great platform, especially for just like gay in particular, but queer in general. Like it is a great platform, but it's still very, very niche, very, very specific. And it has to fit in a very specific way about what drag is, about what a gay person is, and you have to be so set in that way. So it feels like even though you're on this huge platform, you don't have that much leeway with how you want to express yourself because it's there being critiqued by people who have a certain ideal.
Yeah, and that's the like, and that's the what the wonders of the show. Like, it is at the end of the day, what we're on season 13, episode blah blah blah. We're on All Stars 28. We're on Thailand, Canada, Arabia,
Australia.
Venezuela, Australia. Like we've got so like the franchise is now like beyond. So what they're doing is correct, and you know it is an entertainment show after all. But I think what people forget is it's our lives, and it's an entertainment show first. It's a competition second, and then it's about us. If that makes sense.
Did you make any friends with anyone particular on the show that maybe you didn't know before?
Well, I somehow I kind of knew everyone. The only people I didn't know was Cherry, Veronica. That's it. I pretty much knew everyone else. I knew obviously the London girls. I was friends with Ginny before. I had met Lawrence. Oh, Ellie as well. I didn't know.
She's quite young though, isn't it? She's probably like brand new into this.
But she's young, and I had no idea. I don't know what Dundee is. I never knew at the time. I was like, Dundee. I just know Glasgow and Edinburgh.
Yeah.
All right, babe. Don't be making cities and countries now, sweetheart.
I know why.
Yeah, I think the good thing is when we like came together, all 12 of us, and like we were at the table. So we've just done our entrances, and we all at the table. It was like, this is it. This is the family. This is the sister bond. This is us, and we it's a very good bond we have, considering what we've gone through within the pandemic and filming. Yeah, I love them all. I love them so much. I'm so thankful.
Oh, that's good. I just read this tweet from Candy Muse, right? So when you're talking about how they treat you and stuff, and Candy Muse had wrote, "Queens that have been on Drag Race, can we talk about pooping on Drag Race?" Oh my God, it's so hard pooping on set because one, you always have a mic on, and two, if you're gone for more than 2 minutes, someone is always looking for you. What's your experience pooping?
You don't poop. Listen, I don't wee. I probably I'll go for a wee, but I just don't poop. You just don't. Just don't poop in drag. Wee, yes. Luckily for the other girls, they have hip pads, so they can just soak it up. But just don't poop because it's just effort. And then you've got to clean up, and then you've got the mic on, and then the mic could be all twisted, and it's just a lot.
I was going to say this episode is not going the way I didn't think we'd be talking about poop, but here we go.
I'm out.
I love talking about poo.
I love
one of my
it.
favorite
Do you know
things.
what? We need to normalize it. We need to normalize all these conversations. Like it's nothing wrong. We all poop.
Yeah,
Part
absolutely.
of the body.
When I get really nervous, I'm not a hugely nervous person, like in general. So if you're playing rugby or like performing, so I will talk about it in a moment because we actually met before and you said you don't remember a single thing, which I'm like, yeah, little bitch. But instead of actually getting nervous, my body manifests itself into just like farting and pooing. So before like a dance on stage or rugby, I have to go between like 3 and 5 times. And this is before like 12. Like
really?
Yeah. And so like if I'm on stage, when we were like on stage in like Heaven or something, I would definitely be like farting as I'm doing it or just beforehand. And then the nerves just leave.
All the time. All the time. The amount of times I've been on stage and I've been going dun 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 up dun and it just happens. Sometimes you do a move and you just like fart and you're like, oh.
Wow.
And then obviously it like smells, and then you're like in the whole show performing where you're going.
And then all the other people you're sharing the stage with was like, who done it? Who done it?
It's not the one.
Yeah. You're like, who did that? Have you ever seen Real Housewives of Atlanta and Portia? And she's like, what? Who did this?
Who had been saying that? Who said that? Who said that?
Yes. Oh my God, I live.
Yeah, so we actually met like way back when you were part of Hot Heels and you were dancing on stage. And then there were 3 of us. So we were probably like the original, I'm going to say this, we were the original dancing queens. The problem is we couldn't really dance.
The OGs.
Properly
No,
OGs.
you could. You could.
True
You could dance.
Well, we thought we could. We thought we were the shit, right? Because everyone was like, "Oh my god, you're so good." And then I remember because there's me and Drew, who I think you sometimes still chat to, and we're quite large, so that's fine. But then the other one, he's got like he in his mind, he was you basically. He was this like super
Who was
toned.
the other? Who
Um,
was the other one?
we call him
Trisha.
Trisha.
I remember you and Drew.
Yeah. He was the skinnier one, with a body.
I don't remember.
Exactly.
He was always like a beat out of time. That one as well, wasn't he? He was always,
just a step behind.
Listen,
Just
a
that
lot
little
of them are
bit.
a beat out of time when I look back, but they lived and they just performed and they did the thing. And my favorite bit was the one where you all got naked. That was my favorite one, obviously.
Well, I mean, I saw you upstairs.
I remember like, me, John, Lewis, and Manning used to be like. And this was back in what, 2000 and whenever?
Yeah, boy, it was a while ago, 5 or 6 years ago, to be fair, if not. In the Heaven show, and you're looking at them boys, did you make any new friends at the Heaven show?
Oh my God, we made loads. Oh my God. The thing is I can't remember all their names, but like, I just remember like, I felt like a proud auntie when I was there. Like I was just like, they're just doing it. And they're all on stage. And I remember being on stage, it's like really, because it's really hard. It's not easy to show yourself like that. But I just remember being like, for you guys to do that, what you were doing at Heaven, for you guys to actually do this on stage, and then to have us who are like professionals or blah, 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 and we do this as our job, to like share the same stage, and we just did it. It was, yeah, I felt like a really proud auntie.
Well, that was the thing I remember when you first came, because like it is like an adult talent show, right? Isn't it? Like it's like in school and you got a bunch of kids and they're like, I just want to dance on stage, and I'm like, shit, this is bizarre.
It's the rehearsals that make me piss, because you're like little kids, and I'm just sitting there like, it's a professional show, guys. I don't care how bored you are. You're gonna have to sit and wait for the lights.
But then you lot was so sweet, because we thought we were the shit. So in terms of the rugby club, us three were Divalicious. We were like, we good, Joe. And then you lot came in and danced in your heels, and I was like, oh my God,
yeah,
I hate these bitches.
We did we did come and turn it up.
But you were very sweet about us, though.
But you know what? Yeah, of course. I think that's the one thing I always had with dancers, especially. Oh my God, really truthful today, aren't we? Dancers have a thing where we're dancers, and anyone else who tries to dance, they're really like shady and like knock you down. And I've come from that world. So when I see anyone who like, don't be shocked, babe. It's very
not
true.
shocked at all.
Don't be shocked, babe. Lord have mercy. So when I see anyone who like does any form of dance and just wants to like have fun, I always support it, because I mean, we just share love in the world. Why would you be like horrible to anyone just for them doing something that you do? I don't get it.
Yeah, because it's still.
And plus, I was a bit jealous, to be honest. Because you guys had such a good number, and I was killing myself doing all the dancing.
Yeah. I can't remember what we did at the time.
I want to be. I can't remember at all. I just remember it was fun, and then Drew was like, and Drew would come through, and then you'd come through, and I was just like, oh my God, they're living their best life. I live.
The problem with Drew, though, every time he makes choreography, it's like, oh, there's a beat. I must put a number, like a hit in it. And I'm like, we need a breath. Just remember, like, I'm big. My knees don't work. All right, stop it.
I remember, I think I told Drew once. You don't have to actually do much choreography. Just sometimes stand and look fierce and look amazing. And then when it goes, show am, then you can start doing a bit of choreo again. But Drew just likes to think he's Beyonce, so.
He doesn't get it. Just leave a breath. All right, let me just catch my breath 1 second. Absolutely.
Breathe. Take your time. You have to take your time.
But then I wanted to ask you, so you say like, okay, you are professionals. I actually think, I would say that for you in particular, I would class you as like an athlete for sure, because you have to work on your body. You have to make sure it's in tip-top shape, although some people are naturally have a certain body type, your abs don't just show up one day. Like, you literally have to train and be ready to go. Is there anything for you that your body can't do? Because I seen you do the splits, jumping off a top screen, down some poles and some shit like that. But is there anything you're working on now in terms of like your arms and your back and your neck and stuff that you think, this is what I'm able to do?
Well, I'm not as limber as I was a few years ago. I've definitely stiffened up due to partying. not gonna lie. But yeah, it's more just maintaining and conditioning my body so it doesn't lose what it has or what it had. Now there's so much going on, and like how I was when I was younger to how I am now, I've gained a lot of things, i.e. mental health and other thousand things that I can't just think, oh my God, yeah, I can just stretch and split and I can kick my leg and I can hold my leg up here and blah, blah, blah anymore, because I don't have the energy to do it, nor do I require to do it. Plus we're in a pandemic, so I'm not moving every day. Like I'm in rehearsals from like 10 till 6, Monday to Friday, and then I do 4 shows in the evening. So I was constantly active, and where now for the past year, I've just been like just playing games and eating food. So it's more just like now maintaining and keeping conditioned on my body, trying to eat well, which is very, very hard because all I want to do is just order. But I think for everyone as well, like just trying to, I think after the last year we had with 2020, now this new year doesn't really feel like a new year. Personally, in my eyes, I feel like we just kind of
feels like,
I just feel like we were in 2020 and it's just we're still at 2020 just because of this lockdown.
yeah, we're now in the
And we're the only country in a lockdown.
Oh,
we're now in the 14th month of 2020.
Yeah,
Bloody ridiculous. So yeah, it's more like, yeah, just keeping the body at a good pace for my age, considering I'm not 22 and I can spin around and jump off poles anymore, which I can. I just need to warm up.
How is your sort of mental health and well-being, and how's it been for you over the pandemic?
Oh, it's been wonderful. It's been great. It's been the best thing ever. No, I'm joking. It's been okay. Like when I first started in last year, I was still new to it. So I was just figuring it all out. I was understanding my own mental health. What is mental health to me? Is it actually mental health? And which mental health is it? Am I depressed? Do I have anxiety? See, they're the only two I really know at the moment still, myself. I've realized mine is depression. I get depressed very easily. And it also comes down to my insecurities that I have with myself. So I was just dealing with finding this all out, thinking, so wait, has it always been this since way back when? Or is it just now I'm having this? So that was like a fight I was trying to understand. And then having that, then doing the show is just like, you should always have control over your mental health. But then when I've got to like completely stop it, because I just, I focus, I'm like, cool, show, focus. It's like, I unbalances you. So it caused me a lot of like a rift in my body and in my mind and in my soul and all of the things. But it took a while. I think once we were out of the show, and obviously we had COVID hit, and then there was a nice break. I was like, I can finally just work on myself, because I know. Well, at the time I knew I'd gone as well. I'd left. So I was like, oh great, now I'm finished. It's all good, it's done. So I just kind of took the time to chill, relax, and blah, 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 blah. And then when they called me to be like, hi, so are you ready to do promo? Are you ready to do Meet the Queens? I was like, yeah.
It might have been a little bit of a blessing in disguise where there's that break, I guess, because normally you have to do it maybe a little bit sooner, and maybe some of that work would have been done where you can actually tie off some of the ends of that time and being judged and trying to figure out who you are, and actually say, okay, I can kind of cap that off and then move on to the next bit.
Yeah, well, I kept saying to like everyone, as annoying as the pandemic is, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Really and truly, we all had holiday pay for a year, which I was like, cool, I don't have to work, but I want to work, but I have this time to reflect, and we all do. For some people got furloughed, some people still worked. Not my problem. You're welcome. But like, it is a blessing in disguise, and it's a horrible blessing. What happened and like what it's caused, but it is a blessing in disguise, and you just have to like just take each day by day. And it's fine if you don't want to do anything. It's fine if you are doing something. If you need to cut off people. It's just the time to evaluate what you want in your own life, because your life is important, because at the end of the day, why are we all here? But yeah, like, we didn't ask to be here. I didn't choose my name, except my drag name. All of these things, like, we are just conditioned to all these things. So you need to live happy. You need to be happy. And if that means eating pizza for 3 days, eat pizza for 3 days.
Fuck it. Eat pizza.
Fuck it. Yeah.
I will. Since you've said that, I will eat now pizza for 3 days.
Do it. Like, just eat pizza for 3 days. If you then feel shit about yourself, then that's your problem for eating pizza for 3 days. But
Yeah.
you have,
You
but
need to
like,
prepare for
it's
it.
them. It's them ones where, like, if you want to do it, do it. But if you know you're gonna feel bad about it for yourself, then don't do it. But you know, I think especially for mental health, we're all like, I need to carry on. It's like, no, you can take time off. Take time to self-care. Take time to call your friends or your family. Reach out, read a book. If you need to like shut yourself off from the world, shut yourself off. Because that's what I do a lot. I just shut myself off from the world for like a day or two. And then I'm like, I'm able to like evaluate my own thing going on. And then I can go, this is what I'm going through. Give me advice, some help, some support. Because it's out there. But I think people like don't think it's there, which makes sense because that's what your brain tells you.
Because I think that your posts online have been quite open and you've embraced those elements of who you are. It's not just about being this like icon or just about being this person who is not a real person. You know, you're generally like, okay, well, low-key, this is what's happening right now. This is where my mental state was. For example, just in your elimination, I remember actually thinking, watching the episode, I was like, how on earth have you got this composure? I know I would be pissed. And then you were like, I'm proud of you, babes. I'm proud. And I was like,
I'm proud.
no. I'm like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. I can have
Run! Out of the room! He attacked my bloody place, the bitch.
In it, boy.
I'm joking. No, yeah. Honestly, that every time I watch like my like breakdown, my moment, I like start bawling. Every time. Doesn't matter how many times I could watch it again, and I'll cry them 3 times.
And his feelings are
It
still
just
there,
like triggers. Yeah, and it's like I've processed them and I've accepted them and like I've made them a part of me, so I understand why I had to go through that. Yeah. But it just, because I'm actually like such a sensitive crybaby. I think people think, yeah, I'm and like I am emotional and sensitive, but I mean, like I see a paper in the wind and I'll start crying.
Oh.
Like I'll see the rain and I'm like, bloop, bloop, dry your eyes, and then it's gone, and then I have a whole like MTV moment, and
I love it. I love pretending I'm in a music video.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love when you're like it's raining, you just like put a song on and you just live your like music video fantasy. It's my favorite. But I also like. I think that what's kind of good about the show, especially this season anyway, is the issues we are tackling. Which is quite weird because when we were filming, I mean, for me anyway, it just was happening. Like we just had these talks. It wasn't like forced and produced for the show. It was, let's have this chat. Do you mind just like, but there'd be like, oh, like, you know, when they were like, Tace is doing Naomi Campbell, and I was like, Tace? Like they were like, I'm gonna ask Tace to bring her over and then go wild. And I was like, okay, cool. So it's like they're manipulating what they want, but like they're not forcing it.
Yeah.
Well, it was a good thing.
Sense. They're like that, episodes, but they're not like that.
You know, in previous seasons, they'd be like, oh, let's have this argument. But the good thing is there wasn't this argument that came out. It was very much like, okay, a really good conversation about Black, British in particular, because there were people coming out online being like, oh, this person, that person, this person. But we're talking about this country right here. You know, what has the response been for you, or what has gone through your mind in terms of the reaction?
It's been probably, it's something that I couldn't even think of. I couldn't even fathom the fact that I would get, or the response would be so massive. I didn't even think much past it, because when we did it, we just had the chat. You know, me and Tace were just like, yeah, of course we're going to do Naomi Campbell. She's the best. She's the icon. Like, that's who we are going to do. And also it's for Drag Race. Like, why would we not do her? And then also when we were growing up, who did we have? No. Like, there was no one. And it's not to say there wasn't people, because there was Mel B, lover, icon. She was going to be in my Snatch game. There was, who was the other one someone was saying? There's loads of people, but you can't, just because there's loads of people, that doesn't mean just because I'm young and Black, I'm going to look at every Black person and be like, like, that's just not what it's about. And I think that's what people, well, the article anyway from, was that name Haley? I think it was Haley. The article that she put, I was like, but you weren't there. You aren't Black. You didn't live my life or Tase's life or Tia's life or any other Black person's life. You lived your own life. And not just Black, Chinese. You haven't lived everyone's lives. You weren't there in our childhood. Also, you don't know what I experienced. So for me, it was just like, I'm not shutting down what anyone's saying, but I'm letting you know from the reality I've lived, this was it. There was no one except Naomi Campbell, because she was the one I was obsessed with.
Yeah.
And then it grew and grew and grew and grew and grew as I got older.
In terms of your school and like being younger and growing up, I watched this video of you did it for Barking and Dagenham. And you did a performance and you had a little conversation about it. And it was quite interesting because you gave this like sort of confessional, and it was about how difficult it was for you growing up, and you didn't feel like you could open up until you left East London and Essex. But I still find, I don't know if you still rep that side, you're still there aware of it because you did this performance for them. You know, your first episode was East London Girl with your ASOS jacket.
What? Come through, even in an ASOS. And she won. And she won.
What was it like growing up in East London or Essex for you?
I mean, I've kind of like deleted it from my brain. I've just left it as like a physical feeling and memory. So I can't really remember, but I just I didn't enjoy it. I wasn't fond of it. It wasn't until I went to college at Havering where I kind of like opened up a bit more. I was enjoying dancing every day, you know, and that's where I met like my real family, my real friends. But yeah, I didn't enjoy school. I hated school. I was bullied. I mean, most of us are bullied anyway, but I was really bullied. I never hung around with the Black kids. I never felt Black, if that makes sense. It's just, like, I never felt Black. I went to a I went to a multiracial school, but it was white. Everyone, it's gonna sound so bad to say, but like all the Blacks were very stereotypical Black boys back then. Like, I hate to say it. Like, it was all that. It was all just, and I was just like, and there's a photo. Oh my god, I have to send you it, and you're pissed. I've got this whole do-rag on, and then it was. Is it what you're wearing now, bitch? Basically, yeah, but like now it's like queer. It's like queer rude boy, like Fila sports. Like, it's bad. You could never. You could try. You could dream. You could aspire, but you could never.
Yeah, I know.
But like, yeah, it was just like I was fitting in. I was fitting into it. Fierce like that. That's fierce, isn't it? I live.
Yeah.
But like I was fitting into the whole like stereotype and the whole type of person I should be because I'm Black. But I was the only one who danced. I was the only one who's creative. You know, I was with all the Black girls, hence why I did the East London look. Like, that's who I was around. And I had my Caucasian white lot who I love to pieces. Not anymore. God, that was so rude of me. But like, yeah, I was just like, I felt like an owl in Harry Potter. Like, I felt like I was just like flying to this part and then flying, and I'm flying. I'm just constantly between these two, the Blacks and the whites. And it was just, I think as a gay Black child growing up who is so creative and so wanted to dance and is a fairy, but the biggest fairy you ever meet, it's quite yeah, it breaks you down. You kind of don't understand who you are, what's going on in the world, especially when I didn't have any education in being gay or LGBTQ history. Like, I look back and I don't think I had any. I had to like find this out myself, which was when I went to London, which was when I left East London and Essex. I started going out in Soho and I went to Heaven. I got my life every day, and then I go to college the next morning. Like, that was me learning about my actual culture.
Yeah.
And I actually learned about my history. And I think that happens for a lot of us out there.
100%. Me and Drew were talking about it before because it's difficult. We feel like we grow up in a predominantly white area and you don't see many, you don't fit with the stereotypical Black people, especially in London or the places, the cities were, because they're a bit, you know, if we're a little bit femme or a little bit on the, you know, on the gay side, it doesn't really, you don't feel like you can fit in. And I'm sure it's not just for Black people. Go on.
I think it's for everyone, you know. I think everyone has had some form of feeling ostracized. I think that's the word. Look at me trying to be all smart. I think that's like that word, like everyone's had some form of, oh, you can't be a part of us unless you are fully going to be with us. And it's just like, But who are you to even say that? Because you don't even know who you are. It's just what you've been conditioned to learn. And this is with any race. I don't think it comes down to even race or color. I think it just comes down to human beings and just how we exist. I think the world, the society we live in is so male run and so alphaed, but like you don't know anything because the universe is so great. Who are you to then say I need to live like this? I was saying, oh my god, this is the gag, but I gagged myself. So I was saying to whoever I was saying it to, if we all are birthed and then we're given a name, and then if trans people, our trans brothers and sisters, realize they're in the wrong body and they're a different person, and then they choose who they are they not the right ones and we're just wrong because we're just living the conformed life? It's interesting. It's an interesting thought.
Imagine being so deep within yourself that you can actually realize who you are, name yourself, and actually produce this image of who you think you are from inside out, as opposed to these people telling you this is what you're going to dress and this is how you're going to be defined and built as. And I think that's exactly what it is. To have the ability to do that, despite the fact that everybody is saying this is who you need to be, is strength beyond belief.
It's strength, like exactly. It's strength beyond belief. I think it's a power, a core, an entity that the trans people, the trans women and the trans men, or the non-binary trans and blah, 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 like the power they have to know who they are, especially now in like the world we're living where people are coming out trans at like 11. I'm like, I didn't even know how to pick up a crayon when I was 11.
Yeah.
I didn't even walk when I was 11. I was just like, Mum, carry me in that pram still. She's like, you're too big for it. I was like, I don't care. Why am I using my legs for? You can carry me.
You did that when you were 16.
And like, so yeah, I still do it now. I've got a little car, a little like children's
Those
car,
mosquitoes.
like, outside. Oh my god, I saw it and was like, oh.
We need to do two things before you go then, okay? The one is, I need you to tell me this story. So I heard that you had an issue with your drag mother, Raven Mandella, and yourself coming back from Switzerland. And I need to understand what happened, girl.
Oh, the story, the Mandelas take Europe. Oh my god. This is hilarious. This story I cannot even deal with. So this was back in 2000 and oh my god, 18 I think, somewhere in the past. And we were, leaving Glitterbox in Zurich, and so we're at the plane, and then we're like, oh my god, we've got ages till our flight, so let's go get some food. What do? We go sit down and get some chicken. I'm with Raven, by the way, don't forget. And so we're sitting down, and then Jono's with us as well. And we're just like, okay, cool, eating, keeping track of the time. We're like, oh, we've got about half an hour till it's time to board. So we go, Joan goes to her gate, and then we get to our gate, and then we're like, shh, Siri. And then we're like, where's the plane? Where's the queue? I didn't get that. And we're like, there's no, like, it had gone. There was no announcement. There was no call for like, oh, boarding to E72 to Gatwick or wherever we were flying to. And it had just gone. So we were like, wait a minute, what the hell?
Shit.
Like, it's gone. So then we're like, okay, let's go to the check-in desk and find out all the information. They're saying it's gone. We're like, what do you mean it's gone? It's our flight. We're here. Oh, you've missed it. Yeah, it went about 20 minutes ago. What do you mean it went about 20 minutes ago? When was the call? And Raven's obviously like going off in a nice way. She's just like, well, you need to get us a new flight, blah, 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 blah. I'm like this because as well, I had to get back because I had to perform at Heaven. And so I was like, okay, what are we going to do? We were like, where's our luggage? That's the thing. Because obviously it was on the plane.
Yeah.
So then we were sorting the luggage out. The woman said, oh, it will fly to Gatwick. No, Luton. It was at Luton Airport. So it was at Luton and it was there. And we were like, okay, cool. So then we're like sitting in the airport screaming, just like trying to sort out how we're going to get back into London and England. We had £300 between us.
Between the three of you? Or just the two of you?
Just two of us, just me and Raven. Jono got her flight to Barcelona, lucky bitch. But I mean, that's what you get for eating chicken.
That's good.
Yeah, and so we just had to like figure our way to get from Switzerland to London. So we went from airport to somewhere in Zurich, then got a bus from Zurich to France, and then we went to Calais, somewhere in France to Calais, and then we got the ferry to Dover. And then we had to get the train all the way to Luton Airport to collect our suitcases, to then go all the way back to Soho to perform at Heaven.
That same night, did you make your show?
Yeah, I did. I made the show in the end. We got there, and we got there before all the other queens as well. So we got there at like 9 p.m, I think, at Heaven. And then everyone else turned up at like 12 o'clock at night, and I was just exhaling all the journey. But you know what? It made me and Raven grow so close even more.
Yes, when you go through those things, isn't it?
Again, a blessing in disguise. Yeah.
I think we'll wrap it up there just because I know you'll need to run because you're a busy gal.
She's a busy gal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Asstina, thank you so much for coming to Honest Pod today, and we definitely and 100% thank you for your openness and honesty today. And honestly, we know you're going to be amazing, and keep repping for East London.
Boop, 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 boop. Gal. The whole East London. I mean, it's for everyone, obviously, but special place for my East London, not my Essex. Thank you for having me. I'm so sorry about all the technical difficulties today. It's just Monday, and the government's watching and listening to me.
It just means you have to come back on sometime, and we'll do it face to face.
Definitely. Oh my god, I'd love to. I'd just love to come and chat and just talk about the issues when signal is not getting in our way and Zooms are not the thing.
Our new theme. Our new theme for recording is "Get Drunk While We Record." I think that's our new thing to do when we're able to get back into each other's company again. We just a bottle of wine each and go for it.
Prosecco on the table.
Yeah.
I'm down for that, sweetheart.
Yeah. All right then. Thank you so much, Asstina.
Right.
Thank you so much. Have a great, wonderful day.
Amazing. Thank you, my love. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, and thank you for staying with us and joining us. So as we said before, in honor of Sexual Abuse and Sexual Violence Awareness Week, we've got one of our bestest friends, two of our bestest friends on the podcast actually, Jordan and Bryan. So if you remember, Jordan would have been on our very first guest podcast back in episode 61, and we just want to find out how he's doing. So hello Jordan, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I'm really good.
Nice to have you back, Jordan.
I know I'm a lot less nervous this time. Trust me.
And I promise I won't cry.
Yeah, you nearly set me off on the last one. I was like, oh shit! Don't look at Ashley.
Then Matt was there for the camera. I'd be like, please cry, Ashley. Please cry, Ashley. And anyone who's not listened to that episode yet, you have to go back and listen to episode 61 because it is a remarkable episode. And it's really, this is like almost like the sequel.
Well, this is like the end. This is like the final third of it. So in the previous episode, Jordan told us a little bit about his story, a lot about his story, to be fair. And we thought it'd be a good idea just to catch up and see how Jordan has been since then. So Jordan, how have you been since the recording of the podcast?
Really good, actually. Actually, it was a little bit like a therapy session. I'm not going to lie. It kind of, it kind of was. It's, as I mentioned last time, I was going through quite a bit of therapy and stuff, and I got quite far, and it's kind of saying that I was like, for the first time I ever kind of felt content with myself than I never really felt before. And I think I was going through a little dip before the podcast, and it kind of really brought back to life actually how much of a better place that I'm in. And yeah, it had a positive result for me, actually. It was like a full-on therapy session.
In the episode, you spoke a bit about, your struggles from when you were younger up until now, and about, feeling a bit, I guess, I want to say like ashamed. I don't know what the right word would be. You can use your own words about, not opening up about it or facing sort of the things that happened to you before. How do you feel now that you've been able to open up about it in terms of yourself?
Really good, actually, because my main thing was always feeling quite guilty for not trying or attempting to do anything about being abused earlier, like years ago. And then because of that, I feel kind of responsible that other people have become victims as well. But actually, after doing the podcast, I felt like if I could just help one person, then it would be a really good thing to do. But the amount of messages that I got afterwards from people saying that, do you know what, the same kind of things happened to them, thank you, and they're going to reach out and get support for the first time, is really quite overwhelming. And it's really helped me, actually, just because I really feel like I've done good.
Well, I mean, you were absolutely amazing on the episode, and
oh, thanks, Ash.
The story you told was so gripping, and so moving. And you know, I think, like you said, if the one thing you can get out of that is to help one more person, then that's awesome. And to go on and have more than one person reach out to you, and you know, and I'm sure there's many more that haven't even reached out to you to say, you know, your episode has moved me. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, there's someone messaged last month actually just saying thank you, like literally just out of the blue saying thank you. They went over on to speak with Hillary, and they've come through, got out of the bad place they was in, accepted what's happened to them, and kind of started learning to live with it. And just want to say thank you so much for going on and talking about it. So that's, yeah, it's really had such a strong impact. I do feel quite proud of it.
Absolutely, you should feel really proud. I mean, I think there's a time and place for everything, and things happen for a reason, you know, in terms of, you know, you were able to do it last year because you were in that place to do so. Do you know what I mean? It isn't related to how long things have happened or how much time has passed, but you have to be ready in yourself. What were some of the feelings beforehand, and some of the difficulties or challenges that you had just before the podcast and sometime before that? Because you would have thought about opening up, but wasn't necessarily able to.
Do you know what? My biggest concern about doing it actually was I see so many people on social media just kind of putting their dramas out just for everyone to see and to try and get sympathy and to try and get attention for themselves. And my biggest fear was literally just, I didn't want people thinking that I was just trying to create myself attention or just trying to get sympathy, because it wasn't what it was about. And that was the biggest thing that I've kind of, that's held back previously from kind of speaking about it or opening up about it. But it's, yeah, I don't feel like that at all anymore, to be honest.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and people, you might have noticed we've also obviously got somebody else who hasn't yet spoken. Hey, Bryan. Do you want to give yourself a little intro?
Yeah, so I'm Bryan. I'm also a Steeler and play with the guys on the podcast, and a big fan of the podcast for over a year. Well, year and a bit now. Was quite taken back by Jordan's episode. That kind of was like a wrecking ball through my life, to be honest, but in a good way, because, well, I'm here to kind of share my story a bit, if you want me to go into that just now. So I heard Jordan's touching story about his experience when he was younger, and it brought home a lot of things in my life that happened to me when I was younger. So probably about 25 years ago, roughly, I was sexually assaulted by an older boy. I was, I reckon, 10 or 11 at the time, and he was 16 or 17, not 100% sure yet. And I've never dealt with it. I've literally been in complete denial up until that podcast episode, and only ever told my ex-fiance when we were together, and then it was like, FYI, this is like my deepest, darkest secret, and we don't need to talk about it, we don't need to do anything, but FYI, that is literally was the end of the conversation. And I've always justified myself and my stance on it being that I didn't want to be a victim, and I always thought it could have been a lot worse than it was. It was lucky for me. Although I didn't quite understand what had happened, I realised that something wasn't right. My gut feeling was that it was wrong, and this person had plans on what happening more than once. But I was savvy enough to realise that something wasn't right, and I put a stop to it. And I've never seen that person ever again. So when I've kind of justified it to myself of, well, it happened once, it could have been a lot worse than it was. It's never affected my life. It is what it is. I've accepted it, moved on. I packed it away in a box, moved on. And it wasn't until when Jordan shared the impact it had on his life with a bit of hindsight, and it wasn't until I kind of put the pieces together about issues that I face in my life, mental health issues, the really bad confidence issues, up until quite recently, actually, I mean, 3 years ago, really. It's funny, you were just saying about like right place and right time. And it seemed to be bang on the money for me to kind of face up to it and realise actually this has had an impact on my life and continues to do so. And then I literally phoned Police Scotland and reported the crime. and gave a short statement over the phone, and they were absolutely fantastic. And literally within a week, I got a phone call from a detective sergeant in Police Scotland, who I actually know from school. We went to school together, and he went, "Look, just to give you a heads up, like, we want to push your statement through as quickly as we can with Surrey Police, because we're 99.9% sure that we know who this is," which completely, like, literally knocked me sideways, because I'd pretty much, again, packed it off in the box and thought, well, some point in the future, somebody might get in contact to go to court or something like that. I didn't know what to expect. So that threw me off, because as much as I packed it up and was in denial for so long, I did go through periods, maybe twice a year, where I would almost Google this guy and try to find out who is he? Do I know him? And I've never been able to find him. Never been able to find him. It was almost go through little obsessive periods of, I want to know who this is. But so now I know who it is. He was arrested quite recently. We may be at a stage very shortly where we've reached the point that we can issue charges. Sorry, Matt.
That's quite interesting, actually, Jordan. I feel like that's kind of similar to Jordan, where you feel like maybe it just happened to you.
Matt, thank you very much for an awesome episode.
It seems to be
Thank you very much, Ashley.
in these
And everyone
cases, it's
listening,
not just
keep
you,
an eye
that
out
it's actually
for Monday,
potentially happening
where
to many
we
other
will
people
have
that obviously
Agony
you're not aware
Ash with
about.
Jordan joining us again.
And that's why it's
where
quite
we
positive thing to actually,
remedy
even if you
some
feel like it
world
might be just you and
problems.
yourself bringing it
As you
forward,
want
that
bad
there is a high
advice?
chance that people that
Bad
do this have
advice?
done this before and will do it again.
I was going to just ask Jordan, how do you
Have a lovely
feel after
weekend,
hearing
everybody.
that? How
And
does that make you feel?
Ashley, I'll speak to
I
you
feel
soon.
sad, actually. I feel really sad, and it's
Bye.
Bye.
and as overwhelming as it was with the messages and stuff that people were messaging me afterwards, it's actually shocked me of actually how much it does go on and how many people have been through a similar situation, and that's what's the sad thing about it. But where it's never really spoken about, no one actually talks about it because no one knows, because it's seen as such a taboo subject. And I suppose that people that have been through it themselves feel a little bit ashamed, and that they can't be able to discuss it with people because it's kind of the shock factor and worrying what people are going to think of them and so on. So yeah, I don't know, it just gives me a little bit of mixed emotions. Like, I feel really, really, really happy that I've managed to do something that's helped someone else. So, but then at the same time, I just feel really sad because it's a horrible experience, and the whole process of what you're doing now isn't exactly the most exciting thing in the world to do.
Bryan, in terms of you having to go through the process, I guess now, is there a certain amount of, or any preparation in your mind that you need to go through, or a way of managing your emotions and your feelings over this period?
I think one thing that you guys and Jordan have allowed me to do is to live my truth and be open. I'm pretty open about it. I don't sing it from the rooftops, although I'm pretty much doing that at the moment. But I'm open, and I discuss it with friends, with my close friends in the rugby team. Discussed it when it was happening. I think for anyone else that's considering it, I think is you don't need to do it on your own. You can reach out to people. You can talk to family. So I had no intention whatsoever of telling my family. I literally would have just went to Scotland to court, remained anonymous in another room if I had to, or behind the screen, but I won from the public gallery. I was perfectly prepared to do that. But the more, actually, I told like 3 or 4 really close friends, and the amount of support I got from them was phenomenal. That slowly but surely, I told my mum, and that was probably the hardest thing I had to do, because I didn't think I had the balls to do it, if I'm honest. I was like, I can't text that, I can't even do that over the phone, it needs to be face to face. And 2020 didn't really provide that many opportunities to go home to Scotland, but I managed to squeeze in a couple of weeks in September, went home, and literally was having a drink with mum one night, and I just had to tell her, I thought this is going to be the only chance we're going to be together, just the two of us, without my dad, without my friend there. I just need to get this out. And she took it a lot better than I thought. And I think Jordan hit on a really good point. Like the amount of women and females in my life who pretty much, I'll probably say 80% of the females I know, whether my sisters, my aunties, and my mum, have shared experiences where something inappropriate has happened, whether they've been flashed in the street And I think we do accept that kind of happens to women, like, but I think the problem we've got is that men don't actually talk about it. We don't talk about it and we don't deal with it. And that's what I've kind of learned from this experience. My advice to people is to reach out to the people closest to them. They will support. The support I've had from my family has been amazing.
I think one of the big things that sort of happened in the last 5-10 years is, like, obviously the Me Too movement was a massive eye opener for a lot of people about the type of stuff that goes on. And I think it's like through the courage that, like, people like yourself and Jordan have to share your stories, and it makes it normal to talk about, which is what it should be. Like, people shouldn't be sitting thinking, I'm so full of shame, I shouldn't talk about this, or have the concerns that you both have shared in the stories that you've told us on here. That it makes it like having you guys on here to chat about your stories, and people hearing it, that obviously has a ripple effect. Like Jordan a year ago told his story. Here we are a year later talking to somebody who's had a remarkable year. And I think Bryan, in my opinion, seem to say that from that point of view, you've ended 2020 better than it started, with regards to like how your life has changed with this, dealing with this.
I was just going to say, actually, you're completely right. It's the Me Too movement has made such a big impact, I think, on so many people. Yeah. And it's that's what helps me understand myself. And where Bryan was saying earlier that he didn't actually think it impacted him in life, I didn't really think that had too much of an impact on me. But actually, it's had such a big impact. I just didn't realize. And it's not when you see the Me Too movement and listen to people's stories, like the Finding Neverland documentary thing, is you can really relate to it. You're like, oh shit, yeah, like and everything just pieces together and all kind of makes sense. It's that I love the Me Too movement. It's been life-changing for me, so I'm sure it has been for a lot of other people as well. I just want to say, actually, thanks to Mash, Ashley, and Matthew, just for
you refer to us as Mash.
Mash, yeah, I did on the first episode.
Oh,
just saying thank you, actually, for giving us the platform to talk about it, because it has had such a big positive impact on my life, being able to do that, and it's really helped me. It's like I don't feel guilty so much anymore. Stop laughing at me, Ashley.
I'm laughing at Matt. I'm getting
emotional, bitch.
And I have to get the camera out to record this.
Oh, I didn't even know he was crying. It's had such a positive impact on my life. And actually, where I was kind of carrying around a lot of guilt, actually, I don't actually feel like I feel guilt anymore, because I feel like I've kind of redeemed myself in a way.
You are very, very welcome. It's an absolute pleasure. And you make it so interesting. Yeah.
I always make Matthew cry.
I do cry a lot. I've been really emotional the past couple of weeks with everything. I've stopped going to therapy, and so I'm looking to deal with like my emotions and feelings separately, with the tools that I have. And so like I started meditating, and every time I do it, I'm like, split-a-doop, just down my face, just a single tear, and I'm like, oh God, it's a good thing, but it's just like, I have to go.
You cried once because I was crying.
Oh my God, I cry when people cry all the time. That's my thing. But Jordan's an ugly crier. Jordan's like,
There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of emotion there to get out. It's emotional time.
Yeah. Also, yeah. This is a serious issue. So yeah.
And then Bryan, yourself, just before we wrap up, what about you?
I think to echo, I've got a massive thank you for Jordan. You obviously you know the impact you've had, because we're having this conversation, and we've had the conversation, and other people have reached out. But truly, you first of all, Matt and Ash having an idea to bring you on, and for you to share your story, and the detail that you did as well. There was no holds barred. It was literally as it was. And you know what? I think that was the important bit. It was that made it real. It wasn't just a story or dancing about the edges. You told us in detail, and that's what hit home to me, and made me and inspired me to kind of reach out, and then our conversation then led me to call the police that night. So I'm like, I owe you so much from that, because I'm still going through it and it's going to be difficult, but at the same time, I'm determined that I will face him in court and he'll have his day. And that's because of you. So, like, massive thank you, and to Mash for to Matt and Ash for kind of putting their head up out the trenches, and we could easily just continue to have fantastic podcasts that are funny and good entertainment. But do you know what? The balance is the good, funny entertainment and the serious chat as well. So massive thank yous to all you three guys.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
God.
Made me sad.
Thank you.
It made me a little bit
Guys.
emotional then.
Happy tears.
No.
Thank you guys for coming on, like I said before, and sharing your stories, because it's all about you, really. Matt and I just look pretty on the side. That's about it. So, all right. Cool.
You guys. Damn, that was a good episode, wasn't it? Just Ashley,
It was the best. Listening to those two bits back to back, oof,
yeah.
deep. A lot of
I
things.
actually started crying. When Bryan was speaking, I was like, "Oh my god, we're so influential." That's shit.
It is. It's so rewarding. I mean, it's reasons like that why I personally wanted to do the podcast from the very beginning, is to make an impact and change people. And I didn't envision back then it would be on such a grand scale as what that has happened. So yeah, I mean, I'm amazing to have, first of all, Jordan back again. Such a gent to come on and do it again, and then for Bryan to come on as well and tell his stories, phenomenal. And then what's also good, I have to say, Matt pushed really hard for this whenever we were planning, but to push and get some, big names on here, and Astina's just like, I mean, we couldn't have planned it any better. That the week she went out from Drag Race, and it was nice to just not talk about Drag Race, and just like we pride our podcast for being, like, just sit back and have a good old chit chat, like talk about shit, and it was perfect. It was perfect. You couldn't have wanted a better episode than what that was.